2012. This is part 5. Justice Dunder Cheap interviewing Evelyn Greene. Ready to begin or continue part 5, Evelyn?
Yes, John, Andre. What I wanted to say too was back in 2007 when the union, CUPE, were asking questions of the government at the time. They were told, they were asked by the press, didn't the minister say it would be a new Crown Corporation? Now this would be Ambulance New Brunswick. It said no, this was a misquote in some of the media. He actually said it would be a new public sector company under Part 3 of the Public Service Labor Relations Act. And that Medivie Blue Cross will not be the employer of the EMTs. EMTs are under the government, the paramedics themselves. And this formal announcement came from Minister Brad Greene on April the 20th, 2007. I don't think Minister Greene had any problem or any part in this. I believe he was in the department, with the Department of the Office of Human Resources. No, he was a minister. Anyway, he must have been, I'm not going to say he was the Minister of Health, but perhaps Michael Murphy came right after Minister Brad Greene, who may have been the Minister of Health at that time. And the first meeting was in April 2006, and this was when the Department of Human Resources informed CUPE of the government's intention. And so it does look like Minister Brad Greene was the health minister at that time.
Yes.
And so I don't know how CUPE understood things either.
Yes.
You know, no, anyone I talked to has no idea that Ambulance New Brunswick was incorporated under 2 acts. And don't forget, the Justice Minister of Prince Edward Island says that's a no-no. You cannot do that. You can be a crown, like you can be under 1 act in, let's say, a province, and then maybe go to a federal level.
Yes.
But you would still have to cancel out the first registration.
Yes.
Okay? And what I wanted to say was, Ambulance New Brunswick corporate building in Moncton is at 210 John Street.
Yes.
Moncton, New Brunswick. The land is assessed at $3 million.
Yes.
Okay? And I pulled the land registry documents, because that's one thing that's easy to do for anybody.
Yes.
If you know the address of any property that you want to find out who owns that property,
Yes.
you just go to the land title section across the street and you ask to search the registry under land titles, and that's what I do. And you can pull up which corporation or which companies own this. Now, New Brunswick EMS Inc. owns quite a bit of this land.
Yes.
Yeah. There's the thing. It's
Property information report. Yes.
Yeah.
And then.
It says what year.
Yes.
And it wasn't until Ambulance New Brunswick was incorporated that they bought that property.
Yes.
Okay? So those loan guarantees, I don't know if they use those or not, but and then what we need to know as the public, who are those greedy shareholders, salary grabbers, or whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
I asked Mr. Irving to put his let us know.
Yes.
Because otherwise, this is and I reported this part to the Fredericton Police 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
It's now with the fraud department. Okay. It's been assigned to Sergeant Edward. I've got it written down. Smith.
Yes.
He's with the crime unit. Now, initially when the police came to take the report and my statement, and I gave them all these documents, I've done most of the homework. I mean, what is so difficult to find out now, right?
Yes.
They can get warrants, they can go in, they can look at who those shareholders are.
Yes.
They can look at why that company that agreed to change the name is operating the name, but it's not registered. And then the other one, New Brunswick EMS, was never changed, as they agreed to do in that document.
Yes.
And then Ambulance New Brunswick is incorporated under 2 acts. And then with the New Brunswick EMS, the one that the name should have changed, the financial agreement says all subsidiaries.
Yes.
That would be all Medivy Group companies. And then, you know, they're using this FMU. Like, what, if they haven't registered, where's that registered?
Yes.
You know, you can't just go out and use a company name.
Yes.
And not have it registered, because for tax reasons, right, you got to claim income tax. So what's our Auditor General doing sitting back there when I've told her about all of this, the value for money report?
Yes.
And then I find out that our present finance minister, who would not agree to meet me, Blaine Higgs,
Yes.
was an employee of Irving for several years.
Wow.
So here we are, Irving's name comes up every time you turn around.
Yes.
You know? And it's like the old saying, in order to be good at anything, competition is always good, right?
Yes.
What we need is another newspaper down here in this province who's interested in the people of New Brunswick.
Yes.
Irving puts up maybe a statue of Burns or something like that, and then he goes to Nova Scotia and gets the shipbuilding contract.
Yes.
Okay? And what has happened to our value for money guy? And now Charles Murray, who's on the board of Ambulance New Brunswick, the legislative lawyer,
Yes.
he's gone to communications all of a sudden. They suddenly, after 20 years and me reporting all this stuff, he's gone to communications.
Yes.
So Andre, what I'm saying here is the people of New Brunswick are getting duped, because it wasn't that long ago the big scandal of Atcon and Sean Graham's father being at one time on the board of Atcon, and then the people of New Brunswick paid $53 million loan guarantee to the Bank of Nova Scotia.
Yes.
We got nothing for our money. We could have built a hospital with that money.
Yes.
And then some Patrick Ryan judge was looking into it. I have never heard anything further about it.
Yes.
Old Sean Graham should be down here sweeping the streets, paying back that $50-some million.
Yes.
And guess who the lawyers were for the Scotia Bank, who got the money,
Yes.
loan guarantee, was Stuart McKelvey's son, Josh McElman, who works for Cox and Palmer.
Yes.
Can it get any more incestuous than this? I think we got to send this whole thing down to Dateline to maybe Keith Morrison or somebody who will take an interest in it. I've gotten to the part now where I think that there will be nobody going up against Irving here in this province and looking into this properly. Why would we have a detective, Smith, under Barry McKnight, who is useless, and he should be bringing in the OPP or a third party. The OPP is doing the Orange Ontario, and they're experienced. And I was told by Sergeant Hudson yesterday that it might take years for this to come out. Well, I've done most of the work, so why don't they get the warrants and find out who the shareholders are?
Yes.
They could if they wanted. If that were you and me, they would be having us before these 3 provincial judges on so many bogus charges. We'd be wrapped up and thrown into jail.
So it's a favoritism. It's
Section 15 of the Charter says equality.
Yes.
Okay? There's no equality here in New Brunswick. Where is it?
Yes.
There's you, there's Sally Brooks. She was denied disclosure too.
Yes.
Disclosure is the most important Supreme Court decisions, and yet our chief provincial judge, Jackson, says you won't get anything until the day of the trial now.
That's amazing. I even had the experience on a simple bylaw matter where the disclosure was thrown in my face and I was given 5 minutes to study it before I was allowed to cross-examine a witness. That is ridiculous. It's a violation of our charter protected rights to be able to defend ourselves and equality under the law.
And you know what incenses me too? I hold the civil liberties. Okay?
Yes.
They're only interested in Section 301 and the blogger.
Yes.
This is so much about more people and our justice system and our equality. And when it comes to equality, our dignity is one of the most important aspects of Section 15.
Yes.
Our dignity. You saw me before the judge today. He tried to cut my dignity down to 0. That is inequality.
Yes, we have a right to speak our mind, and a judge has an obligation to listen to us while we speak, and then they have a duty to respond to that.
Yes.
And they should not be telling us to be quiet or be cutting us off while we're trying to speak. They should not treat us with disrespect or be rude. These are not qualities a judge should possess. There's many documents that state that. The Canadian Judicial Council has released documentation stating what a judge should do, how they should behave, how they're supposed to act and appear to the public to maintain public confidence. But yet, for self-represented, I've had the experience of being treated quite rudely by several judges, and then today I've seen you being treated quite rudely by the provincial court head judge. What is his title again?
Chief Judge Leslie Jackson.
Chief Judge Leslie Jackson.
But don't forget his connection with Greg Byrne, a former, minister. And who appointed Judge Jackson, I wonder? And, these kinds of questions, because a judge, first thing I said to him today was, did you read my file? Did you read my application? That Judge Arsenault clearly told me to get in a timely manner, which I did, and then it sat on a desk while Jackson went on holidays. And I even wrote and asked if it could be given to another judge since he was away. And my court case is coming up in June the 11th. And then the judge said, "Oh, it's your fault, Miss Greene. You asked for an adjournment so you could sell your house to get a lawyer." He said that today.
Yes.
I said, "Well, my house doesn't sell till June the 8th.
Yes.
And my court case is 2 days later, or 3 days later."
Yes. And either way, that has no bearing on disclosure that you're requesting.
No.
a simple process that we're entitled to should not be barred based on some irrelevant exterior.
And he was having the hearing today to decide why I should subpoena the information from the Minister of Health and the city solicitor. And it's all in the motion and the affidavit.
Yes.
And I'm giving you a copy.
Yes.
Now, why would we have to have a hearing? And then he got Judge Richards to sign 2 subpoenas for me last week.
Yes.
Led me to believe they were going to be heard this today.
Yes.
And then they didn't put a date in, deliberately.
Yes.
And then I find out that date is for June the 12th, those subpoenas. The day of the trial, or the 11th. And you know how I found that out?
How was that?
From a lawyer down at the AG's office. I said, well, how did you find out?
Yes.
And Andrea Hall, the director here, she said she wouldn't put it in writing.
Yes.
So I didn't know till today when the subpoenas were even dated. When
Yes.
they were good for it.
Wow. All right. Any final thoughts you'd like to share, wrapping up this final segment?
Well, like I said, the Service New Brunswick is just right across the street.
Yes.
Okay. And I will put something on your blog where people can get in touch with me.
Yes.
Because I am very interested to know if anyone knows about any pill popping, drug related incidents with paramedic Dennis Boyce. I found out he was also a paramedic, a practical nurse at Chalmers Hospital.
Yes.
And I'd like to know if anyone knows anything about any other pill popping at the Chalmers Hospital in ER.
Yes.
Or, you know, anything about that behavior there, because Roger LaBelle, the psych nurse, said that the doctors were sick and tired of what was going on in the ER.
Yes.
But he didn't elaborate on what that was, you know.
Yes.
And what we got to do here, I see anyway, from my, you know, humble opinion, is that we cannot have the same law firms representing the hospital who are representing the mentally ill patients on tribunal boards.
Yes.
Because who is going to get if there's ever an argument or anything like that, they're going to take the part of the cash cow.
Yes.
Okay? And obviously, because the rules haven't been followed for years, and I have evidence of that, even from the provincial advocates.
Yes.
Okay? The rules have not been followed. The tribunal chairs told the mental health provincial advocate, and it was in one of the annual year reports, that they didn't understand the criteria of the Form 1 process.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And here's Stuart McKelvey now. I'm going to be suing them civilly. If I don't get the disclosure here at the provincial court, I will not be settling any civil suit until I get the truth.
Yes.
There will be no settlement. There is no money worth what I've been through.
Yes.
Okay? And I've told them that. At one time I thought, you know, but not now.
Yes.
You know, when your dignity is fractured every time you come near the courthouse, and it has been. When I went, even the sheriffs, you can tell the sheriffs and certain of the employees here, including the court clerk, they're influenced by the justice minister.
Yes.
Okay? Now, Marie-Claude Blanc, Roland LeBlanc was her associate in a law firm, and he's the one that represents this Fernand Gallant, who has a big investment in Ambulance New Brunswick.
Yes.
And Marie-Claude Blanc does not want all this stuff coming out either.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be something if she was one of the shareholders? And wouldn't it be something if, let's say Donald Peters, who's on the board of Ambulance New Brunswick and the head of Regional Health Authority B, if he's a shareholder?
Yes.
And wouldn't it be interesting if Charles Murray is? Because why would they put their names on as directors unless there was a piece of something, because they know it's a conflict?
Yes.
And where's our Minister of Health? Down on her knees on May the 10th with showing the MLAs how to do heart, help people with hearts. And the good old Samaritan, she didn't give a damn about me being beaten up or anything.
So to the general viewer that's looking at these videos, why should the general public care about the goings-ons as you've explained them today?
Because, you know what? Here's the way I see it.
Yes.
Our government may not be financially bankrupt, but it's spiritually bankrupt.
Yes.
And as I said at the beginning, accountability is the moral fabric that keeps our society happy, safe, and free to go about with liberty.
Yes.
And dignity.
Yes.
And the whole 9 yards. If you are exposed to getting set up by the police to the point where they do something and then charge you for assaulting them, and there's no proper investigation done by the chief of police.
Yes.
And I did understand that there were 60-some complaints against police conduct last year, and I think maybe 2 of them got substantiated.
Wow.
I'm not sure if even 2 did. And then the director of public prosecutions,
yes,
Luke Labonte. I have written him several times, and I said, Mr. Labonte, I came in here one day to pick up something, and I was told by the sheriff I had to go up the stairs, and Sally Brooks was with me.
Yes.
I went upstairs, and the only person in the Crown room was Regional Crown Prosecutor Hillary Drain. There was no secretaries around or nothing, so she opened the door, and she was just kind of holding the door. And then, like a theatrical hysteria, she ran past me to the top of the floor saying, help, help, call the sheriff. What she wanted to do was set me up, and Sally was right at the foot of the stairs.
Yes.
Okay? So she didn't get away with it.
Yes.
Okay? This was reported to the courts. I've reported Hillary Drain to the, and then on December 2nd, when I was in court before the same judge, Provincial Judge Jackson today, the last prosecutor, the 6th one, Christopher Levine, got up and said, Ms. Greene, that some of the court staff were afraid of her and asked that the sheriffs follow her around. And one was, I believe, Andrea Hall and Craig Carlton, our clerk, and a staff member from Mr. Bray's office.
Yes.
Court register. So I went down to see Mr. Bray, the registrar, and the sheriff was hiding behind the door listening.
Yes.
He's Paul. And I said, Mr. Bray, did you or one of your staff ask that I be followed around when I come to court for security or whatever? No, he said. Keith Ball comes out behind the door and tries to dispute what Mr. Bray says.
Yes.
Okay? So, then you've got Constable Paul Anderson, who is the court liaison.
Yes.
Officer for the police.
Yes.
Downstairs. He's now saying that Mr. Levine was given my disclosure on December 2nd, and Kristen Levine and the Crown, including Hillary Drain, are saying they didn't get it.
Wow.
So who do you believe?
Yes. All right. So we'll end it on that note. Thank you for part 5 of our interview. And thank you for taking...
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned, because I know I'm going to uncover some more stuff if I'm healthy enough about this. I call it this Ambulance New Brunswick Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
Because you got multiple subsidiaries, right?
Yes. And
that is what happened in Orange, Ontario. There was multiple subsidiaries.
Yes.
And I went, all New Brunswickers, if it's a Crown Corporation, all New Brunswickers are entitled to make an appointment with the minister or whoever has the corporate records. In the corporate directory, they say the corporate records are at the Ministry of Health. Okay?
Yes.
So that's where they should be.
Yes.
I went there and they said, no, they're with Ambulance New Brunswick. They do not want me to see the corporate records, which is our right to, as any public taxpayer, to go see the corporate records.
Yes.
But where are they kept? And we need accountability from our government. Jack Carr is a standing committee for MLA for the province, okay?
Yes.
And he's the one that wrote the minister saying that Miss Greene's allegations are serious. So he figured she would do something, look into it.
Yes.
She didn't do anything. Because her Charles Murray is on the board of the Ambulance New Brunswick. Her regional health authority, Don Peters, is on the board of Ambulance.
Yes.
And so who's paying her to shut up?
Yes.
Why would she shut up? Is she a shareholder? Do you think? And when she's down on her knees, she should be saying a prayer for herself. You know?
Yes, we shouldn't have to experience this public disclosure shell game where they just keep moving the records around or pretending the records are one place when they're not. If we're entitled to it, let's see it. Let's reveal the records.
No other province do you see this kind of stuff going on except in Orange, Ontario. But I will tell you that Medivie EMS, Medivie Inc. is also in PEI in Nova Scotia. But I'm hoping that the people there are keeping a better eye on the government and the procurement process than they are here in New Brunswick.
All right, thank you for that. We'll leave it on that note.
Oh, just one more thing.
Okay, yes.
I had gone to my 2 MLIs. My first one was Rick Miles.
Yes.
He would do nothing.
Yes.
And then I went to Brian T. McDonald. He would do nothing for me. In fact, he even said I was doing well enough on my own. And that was the day before I got beaten up.
Yes.
Just the other day, I get an email from Brian T. McDonald from the legislature inviting me to his housewarming party that was taking place last night at his home, housewarming party, and his birthday party.
Yes.
So I wrote back and I said, is this a joke? Do you think that, like, it kind of goes to his credibility, don't you think?
I would think so, yes.
And I wrote and I asked him if he sent that himself, and he did not respond. So these game-playing people, we got getting our tax money for doing nothing. At least nothing for me.
Yes.
Now, I was talking to my sister the other night, and she was praising Brad Woodside, and I didn't say a thing, but I've been to him too. He would do nothing. But I'm not getting into that with my family. I keep them separate. I kind of distance myself because I don't want to involve them.
Yes.
But you know what? My mother, when years ago, she used to say, oh, Brad Woodside's on the radio. You know, she thought he was wonderful. Brad Woodside wouldn't care what happened to me. He said that he couldn't get the police to do anything.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that for today. Thank you, Evelyn, for taking the time to explain that to us. Justice under Chief, Fredericton, New Brunswick, at the Justice Building, May 18, 2012.